You know that feeling when it seems like you've done everything, worked through every lesson, healed every deep wound, surrendered to the process 1,000 times, and yet, the separation still holds strong? Well, there's a devastating reason for that. You've been focusing on the 99 wrong lessons while there's only one final one that he's desperately waiting for you to learn. That's the key that truly ends twin flame separation. It's not magic, it's not coincidence, it's the exact lesson that's keeping you apart right now. Until you understand it, you could heal 1,000 more traumas or perform countless rituals, but nothing will change, because you're solving the wrong problems. Here's the raw truth: your twin flame runner isn't running because he's afraid of love, or because of divine timing, or because he's immature, or not ready. It all comes down to one single lesson you haven't fully mastered yet. And he senses that energetically, even if he couldn't explain it in words. This lesson is so deep it shakes the very foundation of who you believe you are, how you've built your identity over the years, and that's why it's so hard to see while you're still inside it. It's like trying to see your own face without a mirror. You need an external perspective to finally realize what's been right in front of you all along. And here's the crucial point few mentors will ever tell you: this final twin flame lesson has absolutely nothing to do with loving him better, forgiving him more deeply, or understanding his wounds with greater compassion. In fact, the more you focus on him, the further you move away from the lesson that truly matters. The separation exists for a precise, surgical reason, and once you master that final lesson, the separation loses all meaning. It's like the universe no longer has a reason to keep you apart. But to get there, you have to be willing to look at something that might feel uncomfortable at first. The lesson I'm about to reveal goes against everything you've heard in the twin flame community, and that's exactly why it's so powerful. Most teachings tell you to work on his karma, send unconditional love, or heal ancestral wounds. And while all of that has value, it's not the final twin flame lesson that actually ends separation. The real lesson has nothing to do with him, nothing to do with your relationship, not even with the shared karma between you. It's about something far deeper, and scarier: your total and complete surrender to the void of existing without letting this connection define who you are. Let me put it simply, like we're sitting together over coffee. Have you noticed how your emotional structure, your plans, your dreams, and even your sense of purpose are all tied to the existence of this bond? It's like you've built an entire house on a foundation called twin flame, and now you're terrified that if that foundation disappears, the whole house will collapse with it. That's the core fear fueling the separation, the fear of discovering who you are, what you're worth, and what your purpose is once you remove this bond from the equation. And guess what? The runner feels that energetically and pulls away, because he can't, and shouldn't, be the definition of your life. The deepest karmic lesson isn't about paying past debts or balancing energies between you. It's about learning to stand strong in the absolute emptiness of your own existence, without using the bond as a crutch, without letting the connection be the reason you get out of bed every day. When you truly master that, and I mean truly, not superficially, something almost magical happens: the runner's behavior stops making sense. He's no longer running from someone who needs him to feel whole. He's finally free to return because he wants to, not because your energy is pulling him back to fill a void only you can fill. Now that you understand the real lesson keeping the separation alive, I'm going to show you exactly how it manifests in your life in 3 critical ways you probably haven't even noticed yet. These 3 manifestations are operating behind the scenes of your reality right now, silently sabotaging any real progress toward union. And most importantly, I'm going to give you 3 practical, laser-focused steps to reverse each one, because knowledge without action changes absolutely nothing in this journey. You'll learn how to end separation not through abstract theory, but through tangible actions that will shift your energy in ways he will feel instantly. These 3 critical areas are your relationship with the past, your relationship with the future, and the most devastating of all, your relationship with the present. Most people on the twin flame journey are making fatal mistakes in these 3 dimensions of time without realizing it. And each mistake sends a clear energetic message to the runner that you still haven't learned the final lesson. It's like you're energetically screaming, "I need you to feel whole," even when your words say the opposite. I'll show you how to spot these patterns in your own life, and more importantly, how to correct them for good. When you reverse these three manifestations through the steps I'll teach, something fascinating happens. The separation literally loses its spiritual purpose. It's as if the universe looks at you and says, "Okay, she got it. There's no reason to keep them apart anymore." True chaser healing doesn't happen when you meditate more or forgive one more time, it happens when you master these three areas and become energetically whole without needing him to define you. And before we dive deep into that, if this content resonates with you, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications, because what you're about to learn goes far beyond the surface. Manifestation 1, the past error. The first manifestation of this final lesson is devastating, and extremely common. You've been defining yourself through the pain and trauma of the separation, turning suffering into part of your identity. You know that story you tell yourself every day about how he left you, how much you suffered, how hard it was, how rejected you felt. That narrative has become such a core part of who you are that, unconsciously, you're afraid to let it go, because without it, who would you be? It's as if the trauma has become your official biography, and you're living in an endless loop where all your hope for future happiness depends on reunion, as if his return would finally heal and validate all the pain from the past. But here's the brutal truth: as long as you define yourself by what happened, you're energetically asking him to be your healer, and that's exactly what keeps him away. Let me give you a real-world example of how this works. Imagine you're in a job interview for your dream position, and when they ask, "Tell me about yourself," you spend the next 20 minutes talking about every time you were fired, every terrible boss you had, every injustice you experienced. Even if all of that is true, do you think you'd get the job? Of course not, because you're presenting yourself as the sum of your traumas, not the sum of your potential. That's exactly what you're doing energetically with your twin flame. Every time you define yourself through the pain of separation, you're showing up as someone who needs him to become whole again. And he feels that, even from afar, and instinctively pulls back, because no one wants to carry the responsibility of healing another person. Reversing this manifestation is simple to understand but profound to apply. You must immediately stop defining yourself by what happened and start defining yourself by what you're creating now. This means that when you think about who you are, your dominant narrative can no longer be the woman who was abandoned by her twin flame, but instead, the woman who's building an extraordinary life, completely independent of any external connection. For example, instead of mentally replaying the story of separation, invest that energy into creating something new. It could be launching a professional project you've been postponing, developing an artistic skill like painting or writing, or even planning a solo trip to a place you've always dreamed of visiting. When you genuinely do this, and I'm not talking about pretending, but truly redirecting your energy, you release the runner from the impossible burden of being your healer. And in that moment, something shifts instantly in the energetic dynamic between you. Manifestation 2, the future error. The second manifestation is even more subtle, and far more dangerous, because it disguises itself as hope and faith in the union. You're living in a reality where your entire sense of purpose, every plan, and every dream for the future is completely dependent on reuniting with him. It's as if you've put your whole life on pause, waiting for his return to finally press play. This is the fatal error of the future. You don't have a real-life plan, you have a conditional one that only works if he's in it. The career you want depends on him being by your side, the house you dream of living in has space reserved for him, and the projects you want to start are all on hold because it wouldn't make sense without him. And here's the massive energetic problem: as long as your future is held hostage by the union, you're radiating a frequency of incompleteness that repels exactly what you want most. Let me give you a real example I saw happen to someone who had been on this journey for years. She dreamed of opening a small literary cafe but kept putting it off because she thought, when he comes back, we'll open it together, it'll be our project. 3 years went by, 3 years of separation, 3 years of a frozen life, 3 years waiting for him to return so she could finally start living. When she finally understood this lesson and decided to open the cafe on her own, not as a backup plan, but as a real, exciting plan, something amazing happened. Within 2 months, he showed up. Not to save her or complete her, but genuinely curious about the independent, fulfilled woman she had become. See the difference? The energy completely shifted because she no longer needed him to have an incredible future. Reversing this manifestation takes courage and a level of commitment that many chasers aren't willing to have. You must create a life plan that is 100% functional and extraordinary even if he never comes back. That doesn't mean giving up on the union, it means stopping the use of union as an excuse not to live fully right now. Sit down and make a real list. What career do you want to build? What skills do you want to develop? Where do you want to live? What experiences do you want to have in the next 5 years? And here's the crucial part, those answers must make complete sense without including him in the equation. If you want to take a photography course, sign up this week. If you want to move to another city, start researching opportunities today. If you want to start a business, write the business plan this month. When you act with absolute certainty that your life will be extraordinary without him, the energy shifts in almost a magical way, because now, you're no longer asking him to complete your future. You're inviting him to join a future that's already incredible on its own. Manifestation 3, the present error, the most critical one. Now we've reached the most devastating manifestation of all, the one that's sabotaging your journey literally every second that passes. You're allowing his energy to completely dictate your daily happiness, turning your emotional state into a thermometer that measures how close or distant he seems to be. If he texts you, you float through the day on cloud 9. If he goes silent for a week, you spiral into anxiety and sadness. When you feel his energy nearby, you wake up motivated and productive. When you feel him distant, you can barely get out of bed. This emotional dependence on the present moment is exactly what keeps the twin flame keeps running dynamic active, because he senses energetically that you've placed all the responsibility for your inner peace in his hands, and that's a weight no one, not even a twin flame, can or should carry. Let me tell you something that happened to me a few years ago so you can grasp the depth of this. I was so energetically connected to my twin that my mood changed based on the signs I thought I was getting from him, a song on the radio, a repeated number, even the weather seemed to reflect his energy. Then my therapist asked me a devastating question: if tomorrow you found out that this connection doesn't exist, that it's all in your head, would you have lived the past 6 months any differently? And I realized, with tears in my eyes, that I hadn't actually been living. I was merely reacting, responding, waiting. I had handed over the remote control of my life to someone else, and as long as I did that, the union could never happen in a healthy way, because I wasn't a whole person. I was half a person waiting for the other half to show up. Reversing this manifestation is the hardest, but also the most transformative. Of all, you must embrace complete emotional self-sufficiency, understanding that while the bond is real, it can never be your source of energy or happiness. This means waking up each morning and consciously deciding that today will be an amazing day, not because he might show up, but because you're committed to creating an extraordinary life right now. In practice, it works like this: when you feel that urge to check if he saw your story, redirect that energy towards something that genuinely nourishes you. Call a friend and have a deep conversation. Try out that new recipe you found. Or simply go for a walk and observe the world around you with full presence. When you truly master this, and realize that the only person you need to be happy is yourself, something profound shifts. You stop radiating need and start radiating wholeness. And wholeness, my dear, is irresistible. That's what finally allows you to end separation, because separation no longer has any lesson left to teach you. So let's recap everything we've discovered so far, because this understanding needs to be crystal clear in your mind before you take the next step. The one final lesson that keeps the separation active has nothing to do with his karma, divine timing, or how many meditations you've done. It's about you learning unconditional self-love, the kind that doesn't depend on external validation from anyone, not even your twin flame. You saw how this lesson manifested in 3 ways. In the past, you were defining yourself through pain instead of through what you were creating. In the future, you were conditioning all your plans on his presence, and in the present, you were handing over control of your daily happiness to his energy. Each of these manifestations was sending out a clear energetic message: I need you to feel complete. And that exact message is what keeps him running. When you genuinely and deeply work through these 3 reversals, something transformative happens within your energetic structure. you stop emanating need and start emanating wholeness. And wholeness vibrates on a completely different frequency, the frequency of someone who is fully alive now, who has amazing plans regardless of union, who wakes up happy because she chooses to be happy, not because he sent a message. That's the energy that finally resolves the deepest karmic lesson of the twin flame journey. You don't need him to be whole, you already are whole within yourself. And paradoxically, it's exactly when you master this that the separation loses all meaning, because its purpose was to force you to learn that very lesson. I know this might feel scary at first, because part of you may be thinking, but if I don't need him anymore, why would he come back? And here's the liberating truth, he can only truly return when you no longer need him, because only then can the union be based on conscious choice, not emotional dependency. Think about it, do you want a union where he's there because your energy is clinging to him, or a union where he chooses to be there every day because he genuinely wants to be with the incredible, complete woman you've become? The answer is obvious, and that's why this final lesson is so crucial to permanently and healthily end twin flame separation. Now that you've understood the lesson in its entirety, it's time to apply the final protocol that will literally end twin flame separation, because it eliminates the very spiritual purpose of it. This protocol isn't about performing more rituals, sending healing energy to him, doing visualizations, or repeating affirmations, it's about you acting now from your wholeness, your completeness, your absolute self-sufficiency. The separation ends because its purpose, forcing you to learn this final lesson, also ends. It's that simple. When you truly master these three reversals and begin to live as an energetically complete woman, the universe no longer has any reason to keep you apart, and things naturally begin to move toward union. Here's how the protocol works in practice. Starting today, you will make every decision in your life as if the union were never going to happen, not out of bitterness or resignation, but with genuine excitement for the amazing life you're building right now. That course you've been wanting to take. Enroll today. That trip you've always dreamed of. Buy the ticket this week. That project sitting in the drawer. Bring it to life now. You'll wake up every day and ask yourself, what can I create today that will make my life more extraordinary, regardless of anyone else? And when you start living that way, truly living, not pretending, the energy shifts so radically that he will feel it instantly. Because you're no longer the chaser chasing him, but the magnetic woman who's too busy living fully to even think about the separation. And here's the crucial point that determines whether this works or not, you must do this not as a strategy to bring him back, but as a genuine commitment to your own life and happiness. If you do all this thinking, I'll pretend I don't need him so he'll come back, it won't work, because your energetic intention is still manipulation. But if you do it because you truly understand that your life must be extraordinary with or without him, because you deserve to live fully now and not in some conditional future, then the magic happens. True chaser healing isn't about healing so he comes back, it's about healing because you deserve to be whole. And when you reach that point, the separation naturally ends, because it has fulfilled its purpose. Now that you know exactly what the final lesson is and how to apply it in practice, there's one absolutely crucial step you cannot ignore, making sure that the bond between you two is truly a real twin flame connection. Why? Because all this deep inner work you've just learned only makes sense if the connection is genuine, not an emotional projection or a karmic relationship in disguise. Many people spend years working on the wrong lessons because they're investing energy in a connection that isn't what they believe it is, and that creates unnecessary suffering and a huge waste of your precious time. The truth is, not every intense connection is a twin flame connection, and you need to know the difference before moving forward. That's exactly why I created the masterclass called The 3 Irrefutable Proofs That Your Twin Flame Connection is Real, Test It Now, where I show you the only 3 signs that scientifically and spiritually prove you're in an authentic twin flame journey, not a romantic illusion. This masterclass will give you the absolute clarity you need to know whether you should keep investing in this connection or if it's time to redirect your energy elsewhere. Because the worst thing you can do is work on the wrong lesson with the wrong person. When you watch this content and do the practical test I teach there, you'll finally have the certainty that you're on the right path, and that all this work on self-sufficiency will truly lead you to the union you've been longing for. So right now, go ahead, Click on the final screen and watch it to confirm that your bond is real and that you're investing your energy in the right direction. Once you have that confirmation, come back to this video, review the 3 manifestations and the 3 reversal protocols, and start applying everything today in your life. Remember, how to end separation isn't about making him come back, it's about becoming so complete and magnetic that separation loses its spiritual meaning. And if this content transforms something within you today, I need to ask you one thing: end twin flame separation begins with clarity and action, so don't let this knowledge stop here. Share this video with others who are on this journey and need to hear this truth. Like it, subscribe to the channel, and let's keep walking this path together, always evolving, always learning.